Welcome in, everybody, to Lock In Live for College Football Week 14. Thanks for joining us this Saturday morning. Uncle Phil, how are you doing this morning?
Good, man. I'm excited about this week. Lots of great games today. I probably feel as good about this weekend as I have college football in a long time. I've got tons of plays today. I am 8-4 as far as I've won 8 weekends and I've lost 4 weekends and I've tied 1. I do not plan on falling below I usually typically win more, double the weekends that I lose. So we're planning on keeping that strong today and continuing on. So look, I'm excited about this weekend. Last week I went 4-2 in my notebook. Should have gone 5-1. But I'll take what I get. A winning weekend is a winning weekend. So ready to get after today. Obviously, we're flying a missing man formation day. Smooth Andy is traveling for the holidays. And of course, he booked his flight right during the middle of Lock and Live. So he is a no-show today, but he'll be back tomorrow.
That's all right. We missed Smooth Andy. We'll see him tomorrow. Well, Uncle Phil, before we jump into your picks, you said you're playing a lot of games in your notebook. What contributed to that this week? Was that just a lot of data? It's week 14. You've seen these teams, or are you just like, hey, I'm ready to let loose and put 14 games out or whatever it is and have a huge day?
Yeah, it's 13. I've got 2 best bets I'll give out on show day. I've got 1 bonus pick, but the others, it's just basically a fireworks show. Look, all the games really fit what I'm looking at today. I feel like I know the teams as well as I possibly could right now. And this rivalry weekend where others kind of shrink away, I end up doing pretty well. Yesterday, I didn't put out my picks in college, but I had 3 picks there, and I went 3-0 yesterday on that. So in my personal picks, so I feel pretty good about the way the weekend's shaping up, and that led to a lot of confidence for me going bigger today. And so I'm excited about today and looking forward to it.
We love it. Well, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Uncle Phil, where are we heading first?
Yeah, we've got both my games today are running concurrently. They're both going to be at the 3:30 Eastern slot today. First one is Auburn, Alabama. Look, rivalry game. Typically, you can throw the record books out the window on this one. Auburn coming off an amazing emotional win over Texas A&M, but they do look like a different football team they were the first year. Alabama just kind of looked like a mess last week. There's really no excuse for laying the egg in Norman like they did last week. The spread was 11 earlier in the week. It's dropped to 10.5, and I think for good reason. Give me Auburn plus 10.5 for my first best bet. Look, anything can happen these rivalry weekends. I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn won straight up, but I'll take this. Kalen DeBoer really needs this game. So anyway, I think it's a close game. I think it comes down to final play, probably even a field goal kick at the end, but give me Auburn plus 10.5. The next one I'm going to is Columbia, Missouri, where Arkansas goes to Missouri. Early in the year, I was not on the right side of Arkansas. I kept being for them and against them, and I was wrong. The Tennessee game appears to be kind of an anomaly for Arkansas. Missouri has owned this series. Give me Missouri. -3 is my next best bet. I just feel like that, Arkansas struggled last week against a group of 5 opponent, Louisiana Tech. Kind of came on at the end, but still did not cover the spread. We had that in the notebook. We had Louisiana Tech plus the points, and we covered in that game. I feel like we're going to cover again. Missouri again. Look, this is going to be a cold game today. Probably be some snow in Columbia, Missouri today during the game. Should be a fun game to watch in that regard, and hopefully a fun game while we're counting our money. And Missouri -3 is my next best bet.
We love it. Well, just to recap, we got Auburn plus 10.5, Missouri -3. So staying in the SEC. I've got your notebook for the additional. You're all over the country today. Is that by design?
Look, it is. Look, I know a lot of teams. Typically, I stay in the SEC for a lot of my notebook picks. You kind of stay close, stay what you know. But this time of year, there are a lot of games, a lot of teams I've been watching over the weeks that I probably would have played, but just to kind of keep things going this week, as I've kind of regretted not playing them in some instances over the past few weeks. But at the end of the day, look, it's hard to argue with the success we've had this year. Again, won twice as many weekends as we've lost in college football. So it's been a really good year, but I'm ready to let loose today. We've got one weekend left. We're firing today and also. I'm not advocating playing all of them, but I'm not saying don't either, because I'm going to be playing all of them. It's up to you guys how you feel about that one. So, but anyway, yeah, lots of games all over the country today, and I think that lots of money to be made if you're on the right side, and I think we are. Like I said, I've got in my 13 plays in my notebook today, I've got 9 underdogs, I've got 3 favorites, and I've got a total that I like a lot today. So anyway, so that's where we're going today. That's kind of a broad picture of where I'm having, whether it's East Coast, West Coast, North, South. We're all over the board today.
I love it. I'm gonna take you up on that advice and play all these. I think it's gonna be great. Well, we got a bunch of questions coming in. Keep them rolling in. We're gonna have a solid question day for all these games. But before we get to the questions, Smooth Andy's gone, but let's just go over his picks he sent in. He's on Clemson -2.5, Michigan +19.5, and he's on USC +7.5. So as always, he's on 2 dogs, but he's got a favorite on there. Any thoughts on those games, Uncle Phil, or Smooth Andy's picks without compromising the notebook?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, Smooth Andy is true to his numbers. Look, I don't always understand them. Certainly, I don't always agree with them, but he's true to those, and he's been successful over the long term. We'll see. I may even be going head to head with him today. So there's one I definitely disagree with, but we'll see, because I've looked at all his picks on Twitter and I've seen all those, and I've seen a couple of them that I'm definitely against. But we'll see how it turns out. Sometimes it works in my favor, sometimes it doesn't. But I like the fundamentals of where I'm headed today. I think his number system is I think it's really good. But sometimes on rivalry weekend, these numbers are different, and we'll see how it comes down. See how it comes down today. We'll have a cage match today.
Definitely love it. Well, let's get to some questions. We got first on the line, Andrew from Dallas. First off, thanks for being here, Andrew. It's been a great college season with you coming to the shows. He wants to know about KU money line for bowl eligibility, also Duke -3.5. Any thoughts on those games?
Yeah, look, I think Kansas is a team right now that is peaking at the right time. You certainly see what they did to a good Colorado team last week. That game was never in doubt. KU was having a day. I think I had that one in my notebook last week as well. I had KU. So look, we won that one, and I like I said, I think KU's peaking at the right time. I certainly lean toward KU. Obviously Duke is at. It's a rivalry game. Them and Wake Forest today. I think that whether if you're in doubt today, I'd probably lean toward the underdog. But again, that line has gone up to 4.5 right now. So the money's certainly coming in on Duke. You may be on the right side, but it's a stay away game for me.
All right. Thanks for that, Uncle Phil. And thanks for the question, Andrew from Dallas. Next on the line, we're going to Rob. Rob, the Tennessee fan. Good to see you, brother. He says, any thoughts on South Carolina versus Clemson?
Yeah, I have some very strong thoughts on that one. And that one's in the notebook. I mean, this is always such a great game. Again, one of the more one of the more underrated rivalry games out there. Look, people always talk about the Iron Bowl. They talk about Oklahoma, Texas. That one's obviously played earlier in the year. But, I mean, you talk about rivalry games. This one doesn't get the notoriety I think it should. I mean, this one here is these two teams and fan bases just absolutely hate each other. Separated, I think, by like about an hour and a half. But, again, I've been to games at both stadiums. This should be a fun one. I really, really like this game. And like I said, it's in the notebook today.
All righty. Well, Rob, thanks for the question. Best of luck today. Tyler Sanford on YouTube. Thanks for coming, brother. He says, thoughts on Indiana. Going to try to make a statement by steamrolling Purdue, ? Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, look, I'd be careful of this one. Look, I think that they probably could. But again, this is a spot where I think people are like, oh my gosh, Purdue sucks. Indiana's good. Let's just hammer Indiana. Look, teams coming off of a loss, especially when they've got so much in play, not that they don't anymore, because then they just lost one game. They're still in the playoffs. But again, it's typically a letdown spot. Remember what Navy did the following week, I think against Rice after they got blown out by Notre Dame. They got beat down. And I'm expecting Indiana to lose today, but I'd be careful with the spread. I may even look at that game. I'm not sure what the spread is, but I might even look at Purdue plus the points in the first half, just because I think that Indiana probably will come out sluggish. As much as Coach Cignetti will try to inspire them. It's just a natural letdown spot for them.
Definitely. Hey, Tyler, thanks for the question.
Mm-hmm.
Next on the line, we got Southside Ed from YouTube. He says, Uncle Phil, are you aware of the snow about to hit Columbia? I know you mentioned that. Do you know the extent of the snow for that game? I know that's one of your best bets.
Yeah, I don't know the extent of the snow, but again, I just know that Missouri owns this series. Arkansas didn't even look like they wanted to play last week. They don't really look like an inspired football team. I don't know what's going on with them, but I haven't in a while. But Missouri, Arkansas's rivalry a few years ago was really LSU. And they took that game off. The SEC reconfigured things. Arkansas's never really gotten up for this to be a rivalry for them. And Missouri has owned this rivalry. They've actually owned it. They're like, hey, this is a rivalry. Coach Drinkwitz is actually from Arkansas, so it has a special place in his heart to beat Arkansas. So, like I said, I think that Missouri cares about this a lot more than Arkansas does, even though Arkansas should with their record. Has a chance to have a winning record. They're 6-6 right now, but unfortunately, I think Missouri is going to win this game. They're certainly they're better at quarterback, and I think that they're probably better at coach as well. So I like Missouri to win this game. I think Taylor Green is he seems to just be a turnover waiting to happen lately.
Alrighty. Hey, thanks for the question, Southside Ed. Next up, we got Desiree Sullivan. She says, thoughts on Ohio State, the big game.
Yeah, Desiree, good to hear from you. I'm glad to hear that you like something other than teasers. You're a teaser woman through and through. Desiree, look, I think it's a really tough matchup for Michigan, just because Ohio State, I don't think Michigan's going to be able to run the ball. I think that, and I don't think Ohio State's going to be able to run the ball that much either. So your Ohio State's going to pass the ball. Michigan's secondary is the problem. Ohio State probably takes care of business there. Look, my thoughts and my best bet on this game is in my notebook, and I've got the total in that one. But in this game, 19 probably feels about, or 19 and a half, whatever it is right now, I think probably feels about right. But I think it's a bad matchup for Michigan. Of course, Ron Day, he can't lose this game. He can't lose anything. I mean, at this point, it just it's kind of a letdown after how much they spent. But I think they're probably pretty jacked up for this one. I think Ohio State probably handles business today.
All right, well, thanks for the question. Should be a great game as always. Let's keep going, man. We got Chase on Twitter. It's just South Florida money line. Any read on that one? Maybe not your wheelhouse, but
I'm looking at right now. I want to say that I've looked at this game. Let me look it up real quick as far as the lines on this one. Let's see. Let's see where South Florida is as far as. I want to see what the game is. Can you find the game, Matt? See if you can find it.
I'll keep looking. You talk about South Florida as a team, and then I can get the spread for you.
Well, look, I mean, South Florida, has had a kind of a little bit of an up and down year, but overall, I think they've been a pretty solid team. It's really not a game that's hit my radar, so I'm just going to say I'm going to pass, just because it's just not a game that I'm really looking at today.
All right. Well,
Clearly.
it's 5.5, minus 5.5 for South Florida at Rice. Money line on that would be a minus 207. So,
South Florida should take care of business in that one. I know it's a little chilly, but it's not enough to really impact the South Florida teams. We certainly saw that with Miami. Again, teams going north, they're not going north; they're staying in the south. In Houston, so should be kind of a neutral effect on them. If I played it, I'd play the money line.
Sweet. Hey, well, thanks for the question there, Chase. Let's keep going. We got Blake on X or Twitter, whatever one you like to call it. He says UTSA +7 ?
In the notebook, my man.
Right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, that's we're going after an Army team. It's on the road. Army coming off again a bad loss to Notre Dame, where Notre Dame could have really just named their score and pretty much did. UTSA has been a feisty team this year, so wouldn't be surprised if they did. We'll see what Army has to say about it. See how they'll bounce back and be resilient. I'm sure that as much as they won that Notre Dame game, I'm sure that they probably knew that they were going to be a little bit outclassed by Notre Dame. But really, this should be an interesting game. But I feel strongly about it, strong enough to put it in my notebook.
All right, let's keep going. We got Trenton on X. He says the over in the KU game.
What's the total on that one? That's 61.5.
61.5. Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, those games that are over 60. It's the ones in the 50s that kind of go the way. The ones that are 60 typically go the over. I would probably lean toward the over in that game if I played it.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks, Trent, for the question. All right, let's keep going. We got a prop question. I don't think we've ever done a prop college question, but Isaac on Twitter, he says, any thoughts on anytime TD score in the Ohio State-Michigan game?
Yeah, Will Howard seems like he wants to keep the ball. He knows how important this game is. When he does these read options, he keeps it alive. So I think he'll probably keep the ball, and I would look for him to try to score.
Alrighty, good stuff. Well, thanks for the question, Isaac. Next on the line, we got Justin Partee. He says, thoughts on Tennessee -14.
Gosh, that seems like a little high for that one. That seems, unless something's changed, the last time I looked at that line, it was 11. It's still 11. I think that's probably just a typo. Look, Tennessee's going to Vanderbilt today. I think that again, another rivalry game. Vanderbilt was a very feisty underdog. Early in the season, they've got some good players and a really great coach. Probably won't be at Vandy after this season, would be my guess. But will they kind of be able to scrape up enough in the tank? Those teams that are not expected to be good a lot of times get get nicked up over the season, and they just don't have the depth over the season to continue that. When you have Ohio State, Ohio State's lost some people in their offensive line this year, but again, they've had the depth to overcome that. They've had a 4-star recruit behind them. A lot of times with teams like Vanderbilt, things like that, teams like that, you just don't have the depth behind them when you have somebody nicked up. And that's kind of what's happened to Vanderbilt. Look, they showed some resiliency against LSU last week, covered the spread. But again, LSU is hard to balance them. They're kind of a team in decline right now for whatever reason. Looks like things are just not going well in the Brian Kelly era. I don't think they really ever have, but this year they seem to be kind of coming to a head. We'll see how that turns out after the season. But again, this one's in my notebook. I feel pretty strongly about it.
All righty. Well, thanks for that, Justin. Next question. Well, it's kind of a repeat question. Mike the Wiz, he says Baylor, Kansas. I know you said you maybe lean money line on Kansas, but any recommendation whether to take money line or take the spread? It's +1 for.
Yeah, look, I know everybody goes, everybody's like, why would you take +1 or -1? Why don't you just take money line on that? It's because I've been beat so many times when I do that, and the games ends up exactly that at +1 when I would have lost when I've won. So I typically always take the points, but I lean toward Kansas right now. They're the hot team. They're a different team than they were the first season. They are a train coming down the tracks right now.
Love it. Yeah, it's good advice, I feel, for professional handicappers. All right, next up, we got AS. AS joined the show a little late. He looks like he's an Ohio State fan. He says, Uncle Phil, you're the man. I've been supporting you since the beginning. This is the best Ohio State team since 2015. Do you think they can win by 40 points? I know, you said they should take care of business. You think it can be a blowout?
Yeah, I do think it can be a blowout today. I really do. I think that Ohio State, this one's in the shoe. This one should be a game where, again, I know Michigan's going to be feisty, but I feel like Ohio State will pull away at the end. But this one could get out of hand. And, Ryan Day needs this game. He's been playing second fiddle to Michigan a long time. He may let out some frustration Day. And again, Michigan is bad in the secondary. That's I could see Ohio State continuing to throw the ball into the fourth quarter.
Alrighty, good stuff. We got one question on TikTok about the Arizona ASU game. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. I love this game. It's in my notebook again. Like I said, I'm playing 13 games in my notebook. I typically stick with 6 or 7, but today it's the last week in the year. It's going to be a fireworks show. This is the one of the games that I love. It's a rivalry game. It should be a fun game. Like I said, I like this one a lot. Yeah.
Love it. We got some Go Sun Devils in the chat. One last comment before we take off. We got Andrew from Dallas. He says he loves the card. 13-0. Here we come. It's a good way to wrap up the show.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, man, I'm excited about today. I always hate to see college football season come to the end. This year, at least, college football, it's about 15 years late till we actually had a playoff version of where we are right now. Probably should go to 16 games. But this is going to be a blast this year. Lots of good games. We'll have some good bowl games. We've got Army Navy coming up in a couple of weeks. Of course, next week we have all the championship games. This is going to be lots of good games to come. But we're certainly narrowing the field after today. Again, this should be a fun time. I'm excited about today. I'm excited about college football. And I've already made my notebook for tomorrow as well. So love NFL for tomorrow as well. So excited about that. Should be a good weekend.
Well, if you love the weekend, I love the weekend. Well, should be great action today. Should be great tomorrow. Any final thoughts before we wrap up this final Lock and Live for college football?
Yeah, look, I don't know that we'll do another Lock and Live for college football this year. May do one I don't know if we'll do one for the championship game next week. There's just not enough games, and a lot of them will be in the notebook. But guys, really want to appreciate you guys for joining in. Typically we have 2,000 to 3,000 every Saturday joining us in, and I really appreciate you spending your time with us on Saturday morning. It's been a blast, but plenty of NFL games left to go and weekends left to go, and we're not done till February. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. For Matt, who hosts the show, in spirit, for Smooth Andy at Smooth Andy 5. If you don't follow him, please do on X, and Uncle Phil's Locks across the board. Guys, we're going to have a fireworks show day, and we're going to win. Guys, as always, thanks for tuning in. Let's have a day. As always, guys, let's roll.